Quality versus quantity. I don't think there's a choice. You can't make something of quality out of nothing. There's inherently a need for quantity. So it really isn't a choice of one or the other, as much as it is about a balance. Many games overstay their welcome, with additions that subtract from the experience, while others finish before they properly start. The Sonic series, more often than not, is both. A minute and 6 seconds. That is an average stage in Sonic Forces. And this isn't even quality in the first place. Straight lines with no substance. Unfortunately, due to going 3D, creating long and open-ended stages became increasingly expensive. To compensate, Sega has tried many things over the years with mixed results. Sonic Adventure had a total of 11 stages, each designed to accommodate a minimum of 3 different playstyles. This left some characters, particularly Tails, with stages that felt practically duct taped together for his use. Sonic Heroes used every single one of its stages 4 separate times, which resulted in a game that many find exhausting to play due to the constant deja vu of reused content. And in Sonic Forces, we had classic Sonic.
And for another, we have the Hulk.
These additions weren't good. Be it reusing stages or adding unnecessary characters, these were all some form of padding. What's worse is that they were all mandatory for completion, which was extremely problematic in the case of Heroes and Unleashed. Regardless of how well each of these ideas worked individually, they made the overall game worse, if not completely mediocre. However, in 2001, Sega had the right idea when they released Sonic Adventure 2. Sonic Adventure 2 has style. It's easy to see. From Yuji Okawa's art to the game's opening cinematic, Sega made sure to carry over all this style into gameplay by introducing a set of new mechanics, namely the trick system, rail grinding, and enemy chaining. These 3 additions add to what makes the gameplay in this game tick, namely speed and style. But by themselves, they ultimately don't solve anything. They're a building block for something better. And here's the thing that's better than unnecessary gimmicks and reusing stages.
Yes. That was cool!
This right here is my favorite thing ever. In the history of forever. I think about this every day. I think about this all night long. I stay awake, not sleeping, because I'm thinking about this.
What the ranking system in SA2 did so well, as opposed to Sega's other ideas, was improving the content already there, instead of poorly reusing other content or adding unnecessary gameplay styles. As I mentioned, Sega put special focus on making the gameplay of Adventure 2 about style. But by itself that doesn't add any substance to the game. By introducing the ranking system, there is now extrinsic motivation to do these cool tricks. No longer are you doing them for the sake of it, you're doing it for a reward, be it ranks, collectibles, or other unlockables. Right, now, how exactly did the ranking system solve the lack of quantity in Sonic games? By just adding a letter grade to the end, there is now a sense of purpose to doing well. Mixed with proper difficulty, you're both increasing the amount of time the stage will be played for to get the A rank, be it for extra content or the like, and you are encouraging replayability. Thanks to the difficulty, this is satisfying. So the ranking system solves the quantity issue and not at the cost of quality. What else? Well, I think simply including this ranking system benefits every single stage in the game. As I mentioned earlier, without it, there would be simply no reason to do tricks, or to even fight any of the enemies at all. This is somewhat of a double-edged sword, which I will elaborate on later. The ranking system also adds a layer of accessible difficulty to the game. And lastly, by encouraging this kind of play, Sega is effectively turning you into the spectacle that usually makes Sonic look so cool. Unfortunately, the ranking system in SA2 isn't flawless. The issue with it lies in how many points the enemies are worth. Despite the tagline, in Sonic and Shadow stages, the ranking system would not give a 2-assisted speedrun an A rank. That is because in most stages, the key to getting an A rank is in getting rid of the enemies. This is a double-edged sword I brought up earlier. At the cost of making the enemies worth something, Sega turned the stage into a checklist of objectives, and in my opinion,
That's no good.
surprisingly enough, the issue is actually exclusive to the Sonic and Shadow stages in SA2. Ironically enough, it's Knuckles and Rouge's stages which have the most focus on speed, and in my opinion get the ranking system down flawlessly. The reason the treasure hunting stages work so well is because there's a clear focus on finding the emeralds. However, were you to find a gold beetle or other enemies instead, you wouldn't be at a complete loss. Lastly, I should probably add that the Tails and Eggman stages work just as well with the ranking system, as there is an appropriate balance of speed and style, which in their case comes from chaining enemies. So to quickly recap, Sonic Adventure 2 introduced a ranking system which adds difficulty and enjoyment to the stages, therefore making them last longer and offering more replay value. Its major downfall was inappropriate balancing in speed stages, a minor issue. Despite that, as with many things in this franchise, things only went downhill from here. As of Sonic Forces, the ranking system that I enjoyed so much in Adventure 2 is ruined. The ranking system was carried over to Heroes, however with increased stage length and other issues it didn't work out as well. As of making of this video, I unfortunately haven't played the HD version of Unleashed, so I can't comment much on it. Next up, Sonic Colors had a ranking system that failed similarly to SA2, attributing S ranks to Wisp usage, and lastly Sonic Generations and the games after have made getting an S far too easy, which negates the benefits of the ranking system. I assure you, if you play Sonic Generations just a smidge better than whoever reviewed Sonic Unleashed at IGN, you will surely get an S rank.
And it's just a lot of trial and error gameplay that can get a little bit repetitive after a while.
What once used to be so rewarding, now isn't. But to not end on a sour note, like whenever I have to talk about Sonic Forces, what could be improved about the ranking system for the next game? I could talk about how enemies could be handled in a video of itself, but for the purposes of this video, the ranking system can't be used as the main way to give enemies purpose. Next up, the ranking system shouldn't incentivize doing the same thing over and over again. One way to do this is to offer separate pathways, not just shortcuts, but ones that focus on different challenges. Perhaps one that's more open and requires quick exploration, one which is strictly speed platforming, or one which has a mini-boss. The idea is to offer different pathways, without one being better than the other. And lastly, make sure the stage can't be S-ranked by a player on their first attempt. Include secrets, shortcuts, alternative routes, on top of making sure the score requirement is generally high enough to require effort. But those are only some of my ideas on how a ranking system could be made to work in a new Sonic game. If you have any more ideas on how the ranking system could be worked into a new game, or any things you would like to say about the video, please go ahead and comment below. That was something. Alright. I'd like to just take this little off-script segment to thank everyone who watched this. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to stick around for more, you can subscribe, no pressure. I'd appreciate a like, or if you could share it with someone who you think would enjoy it. And I guess that's about it. I'm planning to release the next video in about a month or two, so So if you want to see that, I hope you stick around. Right, that's it for me. I'm out.